Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to do my what I added to Goodreads in the first half of January video. I also have a mid-month wrap-up coming and 2 book reviews. But honestly, I've had a day today, and I just want to do the easiest one first. Titles, read descriptions, rinse, repeat. So let's go. I'm not going to read the ones that I already read, because I'm going to talk about them in a couple of reviews and in my wrap-up, so that way it'll go faster. So, anyway, let's get started. First thing I have is The Appeal by Janice Hallett. I've been hearing about this one everywhere. Anne from In Search of Wonder talked about it. Krista from Books and Jams. A lot of people are reading it for Epistolary January. You know what? I'm not reading the description for that one either, because you've heard everybody else read that one. Or talk about that one. So, yeah. Basically, it's a mixed media thing about murder and a play, and yeah. So it sounds like fun. I'm going to read it pretty soon. So next, we have a new book, Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. I heard about this one from Ravenclaw Reads. When people-pleasing Chloe learns that her birth mother has unexpectedly had another baby, she doesn't hesitate to become a next of kin guardian. But when she fails to pass Child Protective Service financial evaluation, she is faced with a choice: see her baby sister placed in foster care, or participate in CPS's new initiative, Team Up. Enter Warren, a surly mechanic's apprentice attempting to get custody of his deaf 15-year-old brother after failing CPS's housing evaluation. The two strangers immediately clash, but agree to live together until Warren can find housing elsewhere and Chloe can further grow her freelance career. As their lives intertwine, Chloe and Warren both realize that they're far more similar than they could have imagined. What started as forced begins to feel natural and far less lonely. You can imagine where it goes from there, but I'm okay with being led that way in this kind of book. So yeah. Okay. Next, we have The Girl She Left Behind by Jo Bartlett. I went on a deep dive because of another Jo Bartlett book that I heard about from Chloe from Always Booked. So, a family in turmoil. Phoebe Spencer left home a long time ago, desperate to get away from her mother's emotional manipulation. She knows her life is better away from her family, but she can't help feeling she's simply running away from her problems. Then Phoebe hears that her younger sister Lucy has disappeared, leaving behind her 4-year-old daughter Darcy. Phoebe's certain Lucy will be back soon. She'd never leave Darcy alone, and then Phoebe can get on with her life again. But as the days pass, there's still no sign of Lucy, and everyone begins to fear the worst. Phoebe has to consider the terrible truth that Lucy might never come home. And as her mother makes it clear she wants to take control of Darcy's life, Phoebe must do all she can to protect the girl her sister left behind, no matter the cost to her. So yeah. Next we have A Child Who Lived by Ellie Midwood. That's another deep dive into an author that I heard about from Chloe. Actually, no. I first heard about that I heard about another book by this author, and then I was reminded of it by Chloe with a new release. Who cares? Anyway, The Child Who Lived by Ellie Midwood. Austria, 1942. In Mauthausen concentration camp, 2 prisoners dare to fall in love. When a baby is born, a miracle baby born behind the gates of hell, they vow to escape. That's all I need to know. Okay. A Family Friend by Casey Watson. That's a true fostering memoir. This one's coming out April 29th. Not really going to read what that's about. Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I had heard about this one for a while. And I decided to put it on my TBR to read during Epistolary January if I get to it. It's his, basically, letters to his son. And they're emotional. And, yeah. This seems to be my year for nonfiction. So, I don't know. Next we have Love and Saffron by Kim Fay. I read that already. I'll talk about it later. 84 Charing Cross Road by Helene Hanff. Also read that. Talk about it later. Okay, here's one I've been dying to talk about. The Christmas Eve Letter. Christmas Eve Series number 1 by Elise Douglas. I found this because I was going down a rabbit hole where I just typed in the word letters in Audible to see what would pop up for Epistolary January, because I was running out of ideas, and I was getting sick of the same sort of romance books, and also I have a lot of World War II, and I wanted something else. And I found this. I don't think it applies to Epistolary January, but whatever. And then, right after, I started watching YouTube videos, well, my latest booktube catch up, and I heard about this also from Wandering with Stacy, and she says it's good, so now I'm doubly excited. 30-year-old Eve Charland is browsing a Pennsylvania antique store when she discovers an old brass lantern tucked away on a shelf. She picks it up and sees something behind one of the sooty glass panes. To her surprise, she finds an unopened letter stuck inside. The letter is postmarked December 1885, and it is addressed to Evelyn Charland in New York City. Eve gasps and drops the letter. That's her name. The letter is addressed to someone with her name in 1885, Evelyn Charland. Eve purchases the lantern and the letter and returns to her New York City apartment. I'm stopping there. You can guess where it goes, right? Time travel, and it is a whole series, and I cannot wait to get into it. Apparently it's not even that Christmassy, even though each one seems to take place around Christmas. I'm all in. I've been wanting another time travel thing to get into while I wait for Gabrielle Meyer's next book, so I don't know if you guys are interested, but I am. It's a whole family saga too of time travel, but I think it's with the same person. It doesn't go from generation, it's her romance, I guess. Next, we have another one I already read, The House of My Mother by Ruby Franke. Not by Ruby Franke. Ruby Franke is the mother, the monster mother, by Sherry Franke. Then we have another true fostering memoir that's coming out in February, Please Help My Mommy, by Maggie Hartley. This one sounds like it's about a woman who abandons her baby, and Maggie has to figure out why, when you consider that this woman was going through everything to have this baby, in vitro and everything. So the mystery of that, I cannot wait. I love Maggie Hartley's books. Kathy Glass isn't writing anymore, which sucks. Maggie Hartley is second best. Oh well. Anyway, next we have A Kind of Paradise by Amy Rebecca Tan. I heard about this one from Jen's Reading Life. Jamie Bunn made a mistake at the end of the school year. A big one. And every kid in her middle school knows all about it. Now she has to spend her summer vacation volunteering at the local library as punishment. It may be boring, but at least she'll be able to hide from mean girl Trina, who's always had it out for her, and beautiful Trey, the boy at the root of her big mistake. Or so she thinks. I'm stopping there. It's a middle grade book about a library with a library in it. What more do you want? Next we have the sequel to Love and Saffron, Kate and Frida. I'm not talking about that, but it's coming out March 13th. Then we have Let It Glow by Marissa Meyer. I heard about this one from Cheryl from Candlewick Library and Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia. When Aviva Davis and Holly Martin meet at the holiday pageant tryouts for their local senior center, they think they must be seeing double. While they both knew they were adopted, they had no idea that they had a biological sibling, let alone an identical twin. The similarities are only skin deep, though, because while Aviva has a big personality and even bigger Broadway plans, Holly is more the quiet dreamer type who longs to become a famous author like her grandfather. One thing the girls do have in common is their curiosity about how the other celebrates the holidays. What better way to discover the magic of the holidays than to experienced them firsthand. The girls secretly trade lives, planning to stage a dramatic reveal to their families at the pageant. So, yeah, I'm saving that one for next Christmas. This actually sounds like a better version of The Parent Trap, because I loved The Parent Trap as a kid, but I recently watched it as an adult, and I'm like, that's kind of messed up. Like, this is supposedly this really heartwarming thing, but, like, it's kind of messed up. Like, the whole idea that, parents just decided when these kids were, like, a year old, you take that one, I take that one, and we're never going to see each other again. That's diabolical. And then they end up together at the end? That's crazy. I don't know why I thought that was cute. But a lot of people did. I don't know. Anyway, my point is, this sounds more interesting, or like more of a twin story I could get behind, because like they were adopted into separate families, meaning, I don't know, for some reason neither one of the families knew. It sounds better than parents willingly handing over their children and being cool with never seeing the other one again. Anyway. Tangent. Next we have The Librarian of Boone's Hollow by Kim Vogel Sawyer. I heard about this one from Morgan's Endless Bookshelf. A traveling librarian ventures into the mining towns of Kentucky on horseback and rediscovers her passions. During the Great Depression, Addie Cowherd dreams of being a novelist and offering readers the escape that books gave her during her tragic childhood. When her adoptive father loses his job, she is forced to leave college and take the only employment she can find, delivering books on horseback to poor coal mining families in the hills of Kentucky. The small community of Boone's Hollow is suspicious of outsiders and steeped in superstitions that leave Addie feeling rejected and indignant. Although she finds an unexpected friend in an elderly outcast, the other horseback librarians scorn her determination to befriend Nanny Faye. Emmett Tharp grew up in the tiny mountain hamlet where most men either work in the coal mine or run moonshine. He's the first in the community to earn a college degree, and he has big dreams, but witnesses the depression robbing many young men of their futures. Then someone sets out to sabotage the library program, going so far as to destroy Addie's novel in progress. Will the saboteur chase Addie and the other librarians away, or will knowledge emerge victorious over prejudice? Is Emmett the local ally that Addie needs, and might their friendship lead to something more? Sounds fun. I have 2 other books. I might do like a video just dedicated to Packhorse Librarian books, because I still have The Giver of Stars and what's that other one? Woman of Troublesome Creek. So this is kind of a theme. We'll see. Maybe I'll do it this summer. So like a summary thing. Like a summer reading type thing, because you're riding on horseback. I don't know. I can't see you doing that in the snow. Anyway, might be a thing I do this year. Next, we have Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson. I heard about this one from Tina from Book Talk, etc. podcast. She now has her own channel, so I guess I can tag her along with everybody else when I do my mentions for, people I talk about. Anyway, this one's coming out January 28th. The daughter of an affluent black family pieces together the connection between a childhood tragedy and a beloved heirloom. Okay, I'm completely reading the reviews. When 10-year-old Debbie Freeman heard the gunshot, time stopped. And when she saw her brother, Bay, lying on the floor, surrounded by the shattered pieces of a centuries-old jar, life as Debbie knew it shattered as well. The crime was never solved, and because the Freemans were one of the only black families in a particularly well-to-do enclave of New England, the case has had an enduring voyeuristic pull for the public. The last thing the Freemans want is another media frenzy slashing their family across the papers. But when Ebby's high... Was I calling her Debbie? Is her name Ebby? Or did Goodreads spell it wrong? When her high-profile romance falls apart without any explanation, that's exactly what they get. So, Ebby, okay. I've been calling her Debbie. Eddie flees to France only for her past to follow her there. And as she tries to process what's happened, she begins to think about the other loss her family suffered on that day 18 years ago. The stoneware jar that had been in their family for generations, brought north by an enslaved ancestor. But little does she know that the handcrafted piece of pottery held more than just her family's history. It might also hold the key to unlocking her own future. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good to me. Next we have We Rip the World Apart by Charlene Carr. I heard about this one from Book Talk, etc. as well. This is also coming out January 28th. So this is the author of Hold My Girl, which I enjoyed, so this should be interesting. When 24-year-old Karila discovers she's pregnant with a child she isn't sure she wants, her struggle to understand her place in the world as a person who is half black, half white, yet feels neither, is amplified. Her mother, Evelyn, fled to Canada with her husband and their firstborn child during the politically charged Jamaican exodus in the 1980s, only to realize they'd come to a place where black men are viewed with suspicion, a constant and pernicious reality Evelyn watches her husband and son navigate daily. Years later, in the aftermath of her son's murder by the police, Evelyn's mother-in-law Violet moves in, offering young Karila a link to the Jamaican heritage she had never fully known. Despite Violet's efforts to help them through their grief, the trauma they carry grow into a web of secrets that threatens the very family they all hold so dear. In the present day, Karila, prompted by fear and uncertainty about the new life she carries, must come to terms with the mystery surrounding her family's past and the need to make sense of both her identity and her future. Sounds interesting. Next we have Penitence by Kristen Koval. This one comes from Sarah's Bookshelves Live podcast, also releasing January 28th. I don't know what's with this date. When a shocking murder occurs in the home of Angie and David Sheehan, their lives are shattered. Desperate to defend their family, they turn to small-town lawyer Martine Dumont for help. But Martine isn't just legal counsel. She's also the mother of Angie's first love, Julian, a now successful New York City criminal defense attorney. So, yeah. Sounds complicated. Next, we have The Strange Case of Jane O. by Karen Thompson Walker. Another Sarah pick, releasing February 25th. In the spellbinding novel, a young mother is struck by a mysterious psychological affliction that illuminates the eerie dimensions of the human mind and of love. So, I don't know. I'm stopping there. I read too much and it was spoilery. Next we have The Grand Scheme of Things by Warona J. Another Sarah pick, releasing March 25th. Two unlikely friends hatch an extraordinary scheme to expose the theater world. I cannot pronounce his name. Relabogli Naledi. Never mind. Or for short, Eddie. Don't ask me how this is short, but okay. An aspiring playwright who dreams of making it big in London's theater world. But after repeated rejections from white talent agents, Eddie suspects her non-white sounding name might be the problem. Enter Hugo Lawrence Smith. Good-looking, well-connected, charismatic, and very white. Stifled by his law degree and looking for a way out of the corporate world, he finds a kindred spirit in Eddie after a tense encounter at a cafe. Together they devise a plan, one which will see Eddie's play on stage and Hugo's name in lights. They send out her script under his name and vow to keep the play's origins a secret until it reaches critical levels of success. Then they can expose the theater world for its racism and hollow clout chasing. But as their plan spins wildly out of control, Eddie and Hugo find themselves wondering if their reputation and their friendship can survive. This one sounds like, what's that book? Jodi Picoult's newest book. By any other name? Where we find out that Shakespeare didn't actually write his plays or something? Or the theory? I have a few more. Next we have Other People's Children by Jeff Hoffman. I found this one on Libro FM's sale list. Audio. An engrossing debut novel about a couple whose dreams of adoption push them to do the unthinkable when their baby's birth family steps into the picture. Ooh. What makes a family? Gail and John Durbin moved to the Chicago suburbs as soon as Gail got pregnant. But then she miscarried. Once, twice, 3 times. Determined to expand their family, the Durbins turned to adoption. When several adoptions fall through, Gail's desire for a child overwhelms her. Carly is a pregnant teenager from a blue-collar town nearby, dreaming of going to college and getting out of her mother's home. When she makes a gut-wrenching decision to give her baby up for adoption, she chooses the Durbins. But Carly's mother, Marla, has other plans for her grandbaby. In Other People's Children, 3 mothers make excruciating choices to protect their families and their dreams. Choices that put them at decided odds against one another. So, sounds fun. Next is another one I already read, The Country of the Blind. I will talk about that later. Next, I have Another Time Travel, The In-Between Bookstore by Edward Underhill. I heard about this one from the Currently Reading Podcast Facebook group. A poignant and enchanting novel about a magical bookstore that transports a trans man through time and brings him face to face with his teenage self, offering him the chance of a lifetime to examine his life and identity to find a new beginning. That's fun. He talks to himself, I guess. A couple more. The Paris Express by Emma Donoghue. Another Sarah pick, releasing March 18th. A sweeping historical novel about an infamous 1895 disaster at the Paris Montparnasse train station. Based on an 1895 disaster that went down in history when it was captured in a series of surreal, extraordinary photographs, is a propulsive novel set on a train packed with the fascinating cast of characters who hail from as close as Brittany and as far as Russia, Ireland, Algeria, Pennsylvania, and Cambodia. Members of Parliament hurry back to Paris to vote. Okay. There's a bunch of people who end up on this situation. And it sounds interesting. Next, we have The Family Behind the Walls by Sherry J. Ryan, releasing January 27th. This is her second book in a month. I don't know what is it with these people, with these authors who get like 2 books out in a month released. It's wild. They're full-length World War II novels, too. Germany, 1943. Hold on. My screen is moving. Poland, day in and day out, 15-year-old Jordana holds tight to the hands of her siblings as they're forced into backbreaking labor. They've been transported to a camp for Polish orphans, but at night, Jordana weeps silently, clinging to the hope that they're not actually orphans. That when they finally escape, their mother Dahlia will be waiting with open arms. But the only thing she knows for sure is that to survive, she cannot let the cruel guards discover that they are not just Polish, they are Jewish. Auschwitz, more than 100 miles away, Dahlia shivers in her tattered, striped uniform, wary eyes darting around for any sign of trouble. She's seen other women lost to the bitter sting of the frozen air and the brutal regime, and she can't let it be her. Every day, Dahlia prays that her husband will find a way to save their children. But when another prisoner approaches her about joining their secret resistance, Dahlia decides to take rescuing her family into her own hands. despite the terrible danger it puts her in. So, yeah. And, okay, I guess that's the last one. So, yeah. On that note, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!